Hello everybody, today I'm gonna be teaching you how to become a great solo guitarist. For this lesson, I'm going to assume you're not familiar with the guitar, nor with music theory, so let's get started. So some of the fundamental aspects of guitar are learning how to fret with your left hand, pick with your right, and synchronize both. These are all the steps necessary to play basic notes on the fretboard. So what you want to do with your left hand is place your finger or fingertips as close to the middle part of the fret as possible. So like this, but without touching the metal part itself. You also need to use the right amount of pressure, and this will help you get a clear sound and prevent unwanted buzzing or muted notes. When you have selected your note and you have made sure you're fretting it correctly, you can continue with your right hand. Your right hand will be the one picking the strings themselves. You can do that using a pick or using your fingers. And your final step is to synchronize both of your hands. Alright? Do all of these steps as cleanly as possible, even if you're doing them slow, and you should know that speed comes with time, and try to focus on quality of playing, and the speed will come eventually. So with that out of the way, we need to know which notes to play on the guitar fretboard. Music doesn't really have any rules, and you can do whatever sounds good to you, but certain patterns exist which can help us decide what notes to play on the fretboard. These patterns are basically groups of notes that work well and sound nice when played together in a song. They're called scales, and they help us build melodies and chord shapes for our songs. One of the most widely used scales in music is called the pentatonic scale. It's an amazing scale that's used by countless pop and rock songs. And let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so let's break it down. Here on the screen you can see what the pentatonic shape looks like. The circles are actually the notes, and you can see that some of them are highlighted. Those three highlighted notes are just one note, but it's in different octaves. That is called the root note, and the root note is usually the core of a song. That's the foundation. That's the note we call home. And try to come back to this note once in a while during a song. However, this shape that I'm showing you right now is only one part of the puzzle. There are 5 shapes like this in total, and they all form the pentatonic scale. If you're observant enough, you will notice that they're exactly like pieces of puzzle. For example, shape 1 is connected to shape 2, but also shape 5, right, from the other side. And these 5 pieces together form the pentatonic scale. And when we connect them, we can use the guitar fretboard in its entirety. Okay, so now that we know which notes to play, we need to understand how we should play them. Our next step is to learn the basic guitar techniques. As it stands now, we only know how to pick basic notes, which will become boring quite quickly. We will learn some new techniques to make our playing more interesting. Let's begin with bending, which is one of my personal favorites. So bending is a technique used to raise the pitch of a note by bending the string, like this. Alright. To do a bend, you need to push the string towards the ceiling using your fretting head fingers. You can also use your other fingers. For example, my index finger and my middle finger are supporting my ring finger right now. and you can use those fingers to support your bend and make it more relaxed and more controlled. Bends can be either half step, full step, or even greater than that, depending on how much you bend the string. A full step bend, like this, means that you're raising the pitch of the note by an interval of 2 notes. So what I'm playing with this is actually this. Okay? Next up we have slides. Slides are a technique used to move smoothly from one note to another. To do a slide, you need to play a note on the guitar and then slide your finger up or down the fretboard to the next note. It's quite similar to the bending technique, but the big difference is that you can slide downwards. Okay. Next up, vibrato is a technique used to create a subtle or pronounced variation in pitch. To do a vibrato, you need to use your fretting hand to move the string back and forth horizontally, like this. You might have noticed that I actually used this technique a few times during this lesson. And the way you do vibrato, usually most beginners do it with their fingers like this, which is not incorrect, but the better way to do it is using your wrist like this. What I'm doing is I'm just rotating my wrist like this. Hammer-ons involve playing a note by hammering the finger down on the fretboard like this. Okay, so this is a technique that plays a note without actually picking the note itself. And this technique allows for very rapid playing. Combined with our next technique, pull-offs, which involves playing a note by pulling the finger off the fretboard. So it's basically a reversed hammer-on. And these two techniques allows us to play very intricate, fluid lines. And our final technique for today is tapping, which is a technique used to play notes by using your right hand to tap on the fretboard. To do tapping, you need to hold down a note using your left hand and then do the tapping with your right. So something like this. Alright, today we've learned many things, including the pentatonic scale and techniques on the guitar such as sliding, bending, vibrato, hammer-ons, pull-offs, and tapping. To summarize all of this, I want to demonstrate to you a solo in which I'm going to include everything we have learned today. Let's do it.